All right. The stream is live. Clockwork, Swiss timepiece, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time, right on time. Busy week, lots of stuff going on. We'll wait for some people to join. As we're waiting for people to join, Taylor, one thing that I feel like is the news cycle now just moves so fast.
Yep.
Right? It's like it used to be, and we'll get to Aidan Hutchinson, the confirmation of the news would take a long time. And they put out the bone and the surgery. I mean, and the news cycle moves so fast. The guy's still in the hospital, and we'll get to it late in the program. You've got maybe a source through his relatives, or there's a source saying that he could be back for the Super Bowl if the Lions get there. We'll get to all that. My whole point is the news cycle moves so fast.
I would even say a couple years ago, we've been running this podcast, for a while now. And I believe we've started maybe earlier, like 10, nothing would come out at all, mostly during the podcast. And they would come out later. Now it's coming out. We just got a Tyrann Mathieu news, so it's stuff is leaking out,
Okay.
constantly.
So I'm dating myself here, but back when Carson Wentz tore his ACL, sorry guys, it was December. I had to take family pictures, and we weren't even in the war room. I was just at home watching and trying to record and look at videos.
I'm not sure we were together even then from a professional standpoint.
I had even written for the Union Tribune, San Diego Union Tribune, and say family pictures in the afternoon, kind of sunset, 4:00-ish or whatever. I still remember Carson Wentz Eagles are playing against the Rams at the Coliseum. Excuse me. During the thing, my broadcast keeps going off. My cell phone keeps going off, and I get the dirty look from my wife. And we're supposed to take the little baby pictures first, and then the group family picture.
There are steps to it, yeah.
She's like, fine. So she did the group family picture first, so I could leave. Before I got home, Adam Schefter, Mr. Newsbreaker, I still remember this, and I love Adam. Adam is the best. He's always been so kind, the whole deal. He broke the news that he tore his ACL already in game. I was like, wow, that my mind was blown. And so, of course, I looked at video and I had to say, well, not just ACL, LCL too, right, et cetera. So my point is the news cycle moves fast. All right, that's probably a good enough lead in. People are probably in here. Where do you want to go first?
I wanted to talk just before we jump into injury rundown. We still are waiting for a couple more people. And just explain your situation. We're going to have an article later on just the health scare that the Chargers head coach had to deal with, Jim Harbaugh, on the sidelines yesterday.
Full disclosure, I know Jim Harbaugh pretty well. We've had some special experiences together. I love Jim Harbaugh. He's quirky as they come in the best of ways. And what I always say is, people say, do players prefer players coach, or do players prefer a hard ass, or do players prefer, you know what players prefer? Authenticity. And Jimmy is authentic. The quirkiness, that's and him. Who's got it better? That's him.
Yep.
And he's got an edge to him. That's him. Dan Campbell. That's him. That's how he leads his life.
Mm-hmm.
When you're together that often, authenticity shines through. So I love Jim Harbaugh.
I wanted to mention that real quick, though, with the authenticity. Ragnow, the way he punched, the coach to show that he's pec spitter. That's the kind of stuff that Campbell's bringing in, right?
Campbell loves it. I mean,
go on. Yeah, Harbaugh, sorry.
But Harbaugh, authenticity. For him to say, I'm 2-0 against atrial flutter. I've dealt with this before, Monday night before. He didn't refer to the year. I don't know if it was probably with San Francisco in a Monday Night Football, right? I mean, because he's kind of referring to the NFL, right?
And it was past before Michigan,
before that was Michigan, so it wouldn't have been Monday Night Football,
right?
But so it's happened before. The bottom line is this. I guess my point is, it's what I'm about to say is not based on insider information. Look, I wouldn't text Jim about this. If I happen to talk to him in the off season, it may come up. We've texted before, but this is not insider knowledge.
I'm not trying to get any information.
Not insider information. It's insider knowledge about what happens in the NFL and what atrial flutter is. There's atrial flutter. There's atrial fib. I'm not a cardiologist, but I will tell you this. you should rightfully be worried anytime it's a heart issue. How many times, Taylor, have you ever seen a coach come off the sidelines in a game?
It's very rare. Yeah.
In Houston, someone collapsed at halftime.
Yep.
As he's walking inside. Forget the coach's name.
Gary Kubiak?
Gary
yes,
Kubiak.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very rare to have a coach issue. And he walked off in the middle of a game. He went into the medical tent and went inside with the medical doctor as well as the head athletic trainer signaling something was up. He said atrial flutter. Look, here's the good news. It wasn't a heart attack. Anytime it's a heart issue, you're worried. It wasn't a heart attack. No, he didn't have diarrhea like some people were saying or whatever. He was ill, whatever. Right. It wasn't a heart attack. It's a cardiac issue, but it's not a heart attack. It wasn't the ventricle, the main pump. It's the atrium, and it's a signal. You always worry about cardiac, but of all the different cardiac issues, this is not one that's going to make him retire from the NFL like Urban Meyer and his potential health issues. This is something that is manageable. He said he's beaten it before, so he's had it before. Medications, sometimes certain mini procedures. He probably felt this heart racing and said, hey, what's up? And the medical staff said, well, let's check you out in the tent and listen to his heart, lungs. And said, well, we should get an EKG. Bottom line is he finished coaching the game. It is as it looks. It's scary because it's cardiac, but I don't see this going forward as a big deal. And it's happened before. So they have a beat on it, and it's not going to change his trajectory as an NFL coach or his life in general. So that's the good news for Jimmy. Lots of Jimmy stories. We've talked about him in the podcast before.
Yeah.
Our producer, Doug or Alex, will put the link on the screen or something of the previous podcast where we talked about lots of Harbaugh stories.
All right, we got a bunch of people in here. We have a couple questions in, so we can jump right in. It's not the most maybe the biggest injury of the week, but we did have a first question about Dallas Godert and his hamstring injury. Your thoughts on that? Sorry.
Well, sorry. I don't know why I have the frog in my throat. I feel fine.
It was right when the podcast started too. Very good. Yeah.
So
Dallas Godert and his hamstring.
Hamstrings are always hard to judge by video. Did they pull up lame because it didn't injure catching it just in time, or do they pull up lame because it's significant? But he needs to move, so I think he's going to miss some time. Hopefully he can avoid injured reserve, but we see him missing some time.
All right, now let's go to the big major one we've already alluded to. We were talking about. Let's tell me your thoughts. One of the top defensive ends in the league, Detroit Lions, Aidan Hutchinson suffered a severe leg break. Your thoughts on that?
Now, this is the timeline thing I was talking about. From the war room here, at first I didn't really even notice it. Oh, Aidan Hutchinson's down. Okay, we had a few games going on.
A couple of injuries we were writing about. Yeah, it happened.
And so I was like, yeah, let's see what that is. And then we got the replay, looked at it, and went, oh, that's not good. It was very obvious. And this is why we did a gruesome warning on Twitter and whatever. Literally, his lower leg wrapped around his own teammate's shin, like a pole, like it would wrap around a metal pole.
Right.
We've seen that before, and that's unfortunate. That's a tibia and fibula fracture.
The Colts right guard from a week ago, right? Yeah.
Will Fries had it last week, and we said, just like Will Fries, he's going to have surgery in Dallas. He broke his tibia and fibula.
So there's that gets a rod in place.
Rotting. Yeah. And it was interesting. I got a bunch of phone calls right when I got home before the Sunday night game. They say it's just tibia. We look, and Dan Campbell says tibia. I talked to a number of reporters. I said, look, I'm not trying to correct Dan Campbell. I love Dan Campbell. He is correct in that the tibia is the focus. He is correct because the doctors, the athletic trainers, he's going to have surgery on his tibia. So, of course, he says the tibia is fractured.
Right.
But the fibula 100% was broken too. That's how it bent like that.
Yeah.
And, of course, this morning now they say tibia and fibula. And, by the way, the fibula does not need to be fixed. The main bone tibia gets rotted. That provides the stability. The fibula will heal on its own without any surgery at all.
Right.
Without even any casting. So That's another example. I don't think it was purposeful. Dan Campbell was trying to tell you what
That was
he
just
knew.
the focus. You said the tibia was the focus for him, or yeah.
It's the translate. It's the game of telephone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to rod his tibia, have surgery on his tibia. Okay, it's just a tibia fracture.
Yep.
No, it's just the other
It's
stuff.
just they didn't mention.
We try and fill that out here. So the good news, this is not Alex Smith. What's the difference? This is not an open or compound fracture like Alex Smith. There is no sock or dirt in the wound like Alex Smith. This is a transverse fracture, not a steep spiral like Alex Smith. This will be rotted with an incision away from the fracture at the knee down toward the ankle, as opposed to incision across the fracture site, increased chance of infection, Alex Smith. This is not Alex Smith. We expect 100% full recovery for Aidan Hutchinson. Alex Smith, you've seen pictures on the internet of his leg and his flap transfers and the infection. This is not Alex Smith. If it were Alex Smith, Aidan Hutchinson's career is boom over. Alex Smith's career was basically over, and he was a quarterback. He did come back some.
That
good
little
on
year.
him.
Yeah.
Good on him. And I think he does a good job as an announcer and commentator.
He's not doing bad. Yeah,
I like
very
Alex
cerebral.
Smith.
He understands the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Alex Smith. But in any case, that's the good news. The other good news is he'll be ready to go for 2025 regular season.
Here's the bad news.
I don't think it's bad. Look,
if they go to Super Bowl,
if they can get Super Bowl without him, and I won't doubt that. I think that's it's not impossible. Dan Campbell has him playing well. He's not going to be ready for the Super Bowl in 4 months. Now, look, I get it. I'm not trying to dash his hopes. My son wants to be a Major League Baseball player. I'm not dashing his hopes. I'm not. Look, try and reach your dreams. Aidan Hutchinson, Detroit, try and reach your dreams. Aidan Hutchinson, try and reach your dreams. Don't listen to this, Aidan. It's not going to happen. I mean, even if the bone were completely healed.
You can't speed up biology. I think you've told me many times, right?
But you can get the bone to be pretty well healed.
Okay.
But what about the other associated damage? The analogy I'll give you is we concentrate on x-ray, say the bone is broken. Okay. That's like saying a pipe broke in my house and I got the plumber and I fixed the pipe. Okay. Let's call that the bone.
Mm-hmm.
What about all the water damage around it?
Yeah.
That's like saying a beam at my home broke. Okay. I got the beam fixed. Okay. What about the stucco?
Mm-hmm.
What about the drywall? What about everything else? What about the muscles and soft tissue around it? And the atrophy, there's no way he's ready to go in 4 months. Period. End of discussion.
And you'd be harming him physically if you've rushed him, right? Or is there no reason to do that?
You'd be harming the team if you rushed him like
that.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to be Aidan Hutchinson.
Right.
I mean, this guy's really good, fine-tuned athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't disrespect what they do so much by saying, oh, he can just play it at less than 100%. It doesn't work that way. Paul George had this injury.
Yep.
He's fine.
Olympic trials,
right before the Olympics,
right,
and he returned 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know who else has had this injury? Conor McGregor.
Okay. Oh, with that, yes, the fight when he got kicked, yes.
When he kicked someone and
I did read, you just, if you do a layman reading, is this something that is more of a common injury in MMA fights? You do see this a couple more I've seen, but
statistically it's way more common in MMA than in the NFL.
Okay, yeah.
Although Will Freeze just got it.
It's 2 straight weeks or something. Yeah,
so hopefully we're wrong here, but orthopedically we say things happen in threes. Let's hope there's no third one here.
Pelissaro, real quick, just off the list we have, we were worried about Jonathan Allen season-ending pec. It looks like they're worried about that too. They're waiting for a confirmation, but that's what kind of when you see a pec injury and they get immediate rule out during game. We saw the video as well.
And we didn't make the call on video because it wasn't clear video.
Right.
But that would be a big hit for Washington. But Tyrann Mathieu, once again, we did not see clear video of a fracture, and apparently of the forearm. It appears to be just a bruise. This is breaking news stuff, and Taylor, you'll chime in, or Doug, when it comes. Remember, we're Pacific time, 11 a.m. to about 11:30-ish, And, after that, the news cycle changes.
So you just brought up Mathieu. Let's just jump into Thursday real quick because it's, short shelf life of this podcast. Olave and Surtain both suffered concussions last week. It's a hard for them to return in a short week, I would say.
It's hard enough in general. Olave's no way, no how. Surtain is very, very unlikely. It's been done,
yes,
but very, very unlikely. Olave, why do we say no way? If you count college, it's his 4th documented concussion. He had one last year. Now, I'm not trying to go Tua, and we can get to Tua and, oh my God, this, that, the other, but I'm just saying that gets taken into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
And it's already hard enough to rush back on a Thursday if this is your first concussion and you clear immediately and everything. It's not going to happen. Olave is going to be out. Surtain has a whiskers chance, but not likely either.
On a short week.
On a short week because of the short week. Olave would likely be out if it were a regular 7-day cycle because of the history that he's had.
Yep.
Surtain would be 50-50 on a 1-week cycle, but on a 4-day cycle, really not likely.
Like example, the Falcons nickel corner D. Alford, he suffered a concussion week 5. He was able to clear and play week 6 with the full
7-day cycle.
Exactly.
But it was a 4-day cycle, unlikely to. And not every concussion the same. Look, I'm sure we're going to get to Malik Nabers and get to it here now.
We'll do the new concussion. Marvin Harrison. We'll talk about the big rookie wide receivers. Marvin Harrison with his concussion. You were worried because he did have a little. I say little. Hit a stumble.
There's a lot of chatter. Look, Monday Night Football hasn't been played yet. It's the Bills at New York Jets. There was a lot of chatter all week. Josh Allen, did he have a concussion? Should he have been ruled out? Look, and the NFL and NFLPA came out and said jointly that the protocol was followed.
Right.
The protocol was followed. 6 minutes and 6 seconds of real time. You don't need more than 5 to do the screening. You probably could do it in 3 or 4 minutes. He did go into the tent. He got checked. He cleared. Does it require player participation? Yes. Do you rely on player symptoms? Yes. Is it possible a player fibs his way through it? It's possible. There's certain objective tests that you can't, but a lot of it is subjective. Bottom line is he cleared the protocol, imperfect or perfect. I'd say this, the biggest thing about the Josh Allen protocol people miss is, I don't know it's clear if someone buzzed down, and I think maybe that happened, but I certainly did not see the head referee point him directly to the side.
No, it happened in the
That's part of the job.
Yeah.
The referee, any referee on the field has the right to point someone off the field to get examined for their head. And the head referee's job is to follow the quarterback to the end of the play. And look, he got checked, so the referee's fine. But if you're talking about failure of the protocol, you should talk to the referee about how come you didn't immediately send him off. There was a moment there where we saw Josh Allen wasn't wanting to go.
Yeah, he was.
10.
There was a waiver. Yeah.
Well, he didn't have a choice. He's got to.
Go.
But someone from the eye in the sky buzzed down, or somebody saw him. But I didn't notice, at least on the TV copy, that the referee sent him there. Certainly a very bad luck to have ammonia capsules on the sideline.
That's what I was going to add. I think the more angle you were worried about was the ammonia capsules. Yeah.
And media asked me about it, and I said, look, if a member of the medical staff offered Josh Allen smelling salts after the concussion evaluation, bad.
But it was I believe it was a strength and conditioning guy, maybe. Yeah.
And I think our friends at Banged Up Bills are the ones that
pointed that out.
I asked him, who is this guy?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. You were worried about it.
I was lazy. I didn't want to do the research. I didn't recognize him. Maybe there's a new athletic trainer that I don't know about.
Yeah.
So I asked him, our friend Kyle at Banged Up Bills, who is this guy? And he did the research, said he's assistant strength and conditioning coach, which totally makes sense. Assistant strength and conditioning coaches, even head guys on game day, don't have a lot of role. They're the get back coach.
Right.
I mean, no one's lifting weights in game. Maybe they're stretching a guy out here or there, but the athletic trainers do that. Yes, it's not unusual for them to have some poppers in their pockets. Apparently, Josh Allen likes that pregame. He may have seen Josh Allen standing there and said, hey, you want one? Trying to be helpful.
Hockey, I used to use it because it was like before, it shifts the way they play. So people love to take them so you can, bounce around for a minute, more than you normally do. But I mean, that's the only time I've ever seen them, live during a sports game.
Most of the time, NFL players use them before games.
Okay. Yeah.
And the capsules, you'll see guys picking them up. They turn pink. They're on the ground. Yeah. They just toss them on the ground like peanut shells.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anything untoward there. I mean, maybe Josh Allen quietly ignored some symptoms. He wouldn't be the only player that ever has done that. I'm not criticizing anyone, but at least the protocol was followed. And so getting to Malik Nabers.
Or Marvin Harrison first.
So Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison had an outward sign. He stumbled. Like he can't come back in the game. And
is that worry for this week too?
Well, that was the whole Tua thing a couple years ago.
The visual
he stumbled.
Signs.
The visual sign. Now they said that was his back. That's a whole different story. We want to go back, but the bottom line is he stumbled, so it's a visual sign. Now,
Nabers,
is it impossible for him to clear in a week? No, but that better resolve very quickly. All signs and symptoms. Nabers. Here's the worry about Nabers. We said earlier in the week, last week, you better look for Wednesday an LP. That was a DNP, and then Thursday morning said if there's no LP Thursday, he's not playing, and it was a DNP because at that point it was 2 weeks from the Thursday injury.
Right.
So if you have been DNP for 2 straight weeks, what makes you think all of a sudden LP FP at 2 weeks and change?
The processing going 0 to 100.
Here's another thing. You better see an LP for Nabers on Wednesday. Otherwise, he's not going DNP, LP, FP cleared to play. You better see an LP at least on Wednesday from Nabers. As far as the concert thing.
That was my next question. Yeah.
Was there a concert? I don't know.
I did look it up. There was a concert. I want to make that clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of people
all,
trying to say they might not have been an old vintage, but
I'm proud of myself. Can I pat myself on the back?
Yeah, do it. Oh, we can all do it. Yeah.
I've actually been to a Travis Scott concert before. I didn't even know who Travis Scott was when he played. It was at a Super Bowl party. And I realized he was pretty popular. I'm like, who is this guy?
Who is this guy? Yeah.
I mean, whatever. It wasn't a full-blown concert. It was
for the private,
I don't even
media,
know what it
whatever.
was. It was it might have been the Rolling Stone party. I don't remember what party it was. Anyways, I've been to a Travis Scott concert. Anyways, whatever. Doesn't matter. I got so many comments that it wasn't a rap concert. It was a Travis Scott concert. It's like, I don't know what's the difference.
Which is the same.
Bottom
I don't know what
line
they're trying to do to you. Yeah.
Fake news is interesting. Oh, that wasn't even that week. That's what I tell you without even knowing for sure. Yeah. If it wasn't that week, there's no way Brian Dable says that's something we're talking about keeping in-house.
Yeah.
He would have said, I'm not commenting on random rumors that don't.
Yeah. He would no standing. You would have given no standing on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, head coaches get prepped by media, by PR before they do their interview. They may ask you about this. They may ask you about that. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't believe Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins, when he was asked about me by a media member, actually independently saw my content.
Right.
It's the PR department saying, hey, your player, the deep corner, really good corner, Miami.
Oh, Jalen Ramsey. Sorry.
Jalen Ramsey had been commenting and going with this doctor, FYI. They may ask you about it. That's how a head coach hears about it. He doesn't see my Twitter.
Yeah.
Come on. He's not scrolling Twitter. But anyways.
So you told me back in the day, like for a GM, like these guys are just getting like a little folder next to their desk.
Well, this is how old I am again.
Yeah.
When I would go in and meet with the GM, a number of GMs, they all had it.
I say you had the same kind of process.
They would have a stack of papers. Oh, here, Warren Sharp. Yes, he sent the book. Thank you, Warren. We like Warren.
Yes.
But be about pages about this thick every day with yellow highlighter. Now they probably do it on computer and
little spreadsheet, emails and all that. Yeah.
And literally they go through and read the entire, and it's pretty much every article that was written about the Chargers staff, Chargers people, every relevant quote highlighted from. That's what GMs do. They get that. Head coaches probably get it too, but I haven't been in their office to see them reading it. GMs read it, at least a number of the ones I worked with.
Okay, I had a couple. Couple of big running backs in fantasy. We had a question here. Travis Etienne and Jerome Ford both suffered hamstring injuries. They already said Etienne is week to week. We haven't not enough on Ford yet, but what are your thoughts on both those?
Well, Etienne will stay in London, but he's not playing.
Yep.
Jerome Ford probably won't play either. Hamstring for running back is very hard. It's very hard to play through.
A three-pronged question, I guess, with the Ford, Nick Chubb's availability, and what are your thoughts? So obviously, 6 core, if you've been here, we mentioned we're very low. Just not on him, just on his injury and what he's dealing with.
It's a bad injury. I hope he can be activated and come back and do something. look, 80% of a normal Nick Chubb would be a victory for this season.
Also, one that hasn't played all year is Jonathan Brooks. He's getting ready to come back soon. We're just kind of pessimistic, just not only the injury, but you said the level of jump to talent, right?
College player to NFL, and they got O-line issues. The last thing you want to do is turn a lost rookie campaign into a lost sophomore campaign. So we'll see what happens. But Brooks is probably still, like, his practice window hasn't even opened up. Right. So let's not even go there. And by the way, for all everyone saying, keep asking me questions about CMC, stop, please. You can start asking me when his practice window opens up. He gets a 3-week practice window to open up.
Or when it's November. You have multiple.
Well, it's look, what day is it today? It's
14th, I believe,
14th,
October. Yeah.
Okay. 3-week practice window takes you into November.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do we say about DaRon Bland? DaRon Bland was full practice
all week.
And there was a lot of rumor he's going to play this week. Like, no, he's not. If he's playing in his first week that his practice window is open, the Cowboys and the medical staff misjudged his return.
Right.
He's not full practice and going to play this week. You want to give him at least a 2-week run up, maybe 3. Now, ideally, they're ready after 3 weeks, but if they could be ready in 2 weeks, then, you're trying to judge it so they're back in 2 to 3 weeks when you open up the practice window.
Right.
You don't want it to be 4 because then you have to carry him for a week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what medical staffs are trying to do, judge it. And they're not misjudging like that. DaRon Bland in a foot, he's not doing it. And CMC too. Don't you want, look, if he could play the first game in November, wouldn't you open up the practice window right now to give him the lead up time?
Yeah.
This is why we said he's not playing in October. It's November at best. Early or late, we don't know yet.
And then they have the running back issue with Jordan Mason with his AC joint sprain. Yeah. So you think there's a chance he misses, or he can play through with injection?
He can play through with injection. He didn't the other day. He tried. Running. I mean, can you call it? There's in college you have running back U. Can you say NFL U for running back?
Yeah, right.
Next guy, boom.
76-yard run he had in this
next guy,
run,
boom.
Yeah.
That's how they got to hand it to the 49ers.
Big in my terms of fandom for the Raiders, but Rams have a game with the Raiders after their bye. Your thoughts on Cooper Kupp's availability going to that game?
First realistic week. Got a chance.
And you always said he was going to return before Puka.
Puka's still not on the open up his practice window yet.
So we're going to go with the Colts. You had a weird situation with Michael Pittman. We had going from IR, he went FP, and then he caught, I would say, basically the winning touchdown last week. So
he did well. Once again, my age. I know Michael Pittman's dad. That's how old I am.
Yes.
and I want to know where Michael Pittman Jr. gets his height from. I love you, Mike.
I even looked. His mom is shorter than Michael Pittman.
How tall is Michael Pittman?
Michael Pittman, he might be 6'2", 6'3", maybe
no
6'4".
chance.
No, you mean the dad? The dad. Yeah, the dad is not. The dad's maybe 6, maybe.
I'm taller than the dad. Michael Pittman Jr. is tall.
Yes, he's like 6'4". Yeah.
Michael Pittman, I'll make you a wager I'm taller than Michael Pittman.
All right.
By at least a couple inches.
Let's see here. Running back. You got 6 foot, yes, on the dot. But I want to Wikipedia, are they lying a little bit? They're giving them too many inches.
I'm 6 feet. As I get older, I might have shrunk to 5'11" and 7/8. But
yeah,
I'm taller than Michael Pittman. I mean, maybe they measured him in cleats and top of the helmet. But
yeah,
his son's huge, big, 6'4", and he's lean.
Yep.
Michael Pittman was thick. Good running back.
Yeah.
Good running back.
Speaking of running backs, Jonathan Taylor. Is this his first realistic chance to come back from his high ankle sprain? No IR for him, obviously.
Honestly, it might be one more week.
Okay.
And Anthony Richardson,
that's the next one. Yeah,
is a coaching decision. He was the emergency quarterback. Once again, this next week, is he 100%? No, but he's closer. It's a coaching decision. Do you want 90-some% Anthony Richardson, or do you want 100% Joe Flacco? It is a coaching decision for Shane Steichen. And obviously, last week he made the right one. I mean, they won.
I have 3 more players. They're all running backs. Rhamondre Stevenson with his calf. Do you think it's another week for him? He's going to be maybe even make the flight to London, right?
I think he'll get ruled out when he doesn't take the flight to London.
Devin.
I saw an interesting comment from
Yes.
Gerard Mayo.
Yeah.
That they said something about talent holes and the rebuilding process is longer than a year. That was kind of interesting.
What are your thoughts on that? Because in theory, he knew that going in. It's a rebuilding year, right? It's not something you would say out loud, maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I like how candid he is, but essentially that's saying you got to give me a lot longer timeline to judge me. And it's also saying
worried, yeah.
Bill and company left the cupboards bare.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I know he knew that, but also, I don't know. It's not something I would have said out loud. I think you just rolling with the punches and you know where you are, right? But yeah. The next one, Devin Achane, his concussion, right? First time.
This will be bye week. So first concussion, 2 weeks. I mean, let's hope he pops an FP on Wednesday.
We just can't see 100% because Nabers was the same situation, right?
Yeah. We'll see, but chances are good.
Yeah, Doc, that's the last in the rundown. I just have some final thoughts. You've been saying since like 2017, there should be 18 games, 2 buys. You saw the commissioner recently say that. Another pat on the back, I guess, for you as well.
No, let me tell you. I answer my own question. What do I always say? If something from the outside, which is what I am now, doesn't make sense, it does from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know all the happenings.
Right.
And that's true for injuries and so forth. Michael Pittman doesn't make sense, Jr. But if we knew the whole story, it would.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be like the medical misdiagnosed or the team made a mistake. Okay. I was screaming, are you kidding me? Why are you adding a 17th game? Why don't you just add a second bye week? That would lead to twice as many, 2 more weeks of TV coverage, 2 Monday night footballs, 2 Sunday night footballs, and you'd get more inventory without more games. They didn't. They added a 17th game just as is. Why? Now I see it. Because they're going to add the second bye week when they add to 18 games.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a symmetrical 20-week schedule. And now you take away 1 preseason game and you end with Super Bowl on President's Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. This is what the NFL has been secretly.
I always told you it was too logical. You had it. It all makes sense.
I just didn't look out long-term enough.
Right,
the NFL looks out long-term,
yep.
right? And so it's going to happen 18 games. They're going to add a second bye week. And that gives you 20 weeks of NFL football. It increases TV revenue, which drives everything. It puts the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend. They're going to always have 2 preseason games, though. You want to know why? You need the home stadium dry run because the NFL doesn't want to be embarrassed with something not going right on game day.
So those are rehearsals.
So every team will have a dress rehearsal at home.
Okay.
1 home, 1 away. That will not go away. But all the preseason stuff, the work will just get changed over to joint practices, which, by the way, players hate more than games. You put in a lot more sweat, effort, and time in joint practices than you do playing in a preseason game, especially if you're a starter, because there you get some 1v1s and there's actually more reps.
There's more injuries this year for that.
They're going to get the work by doing joint workouts. That's going to be how they get the work, but it will never go below 2 preseason games because you need the dry run through in terms of what's happening there.
Yeah.
But that's where the season will be. And it makes sense. And then you also mentioned, what were you saying about?
Oh yeah, the Super Bowl. They just say this was like not like tongue in cheek, but he just mentioned like, I mean, over time we would have the Super Bowl in an international city. That would be good. But I just saw a lot of backlash from it, like saying that would be disrespectful for cities not.
Well, first of all, the commissioner's smart, right?
Yep. He says things for a reason.
He's very calculated,
right?
I'm not going to say either one because I don't want to get grief for it.
Right.
Commissioner Goodell is more calculating and precise in what he says than either presidential candidate. Okay, either, I said, either. Don't give me grief, okay? This is not politics, okay? No. Everything has a meaning when it comes to the NFL.
NFL politics, maybe, yeah.
And what did he also say? If we get to 18 games, we'll have 16 international games. Make every team go do one every year. And that's also his justification for the 2 buys.
Right.
And to get you to Rio de Janeiro, get you to Japan. Look, I did a preseason game in Australia back in 1999. Broncos played the Chargers. We had a 5th preseason game. It was in Sydney, Australia. The second bye week allows that global expansion because at some point you're saturating the U.S. market. So how are you going to make these burgeoning contracts grow for
Yeah.
the players.
Yep.
How are you going to justify $60 million for a quarterback? I mean, by raising the cap. All these contracts, the reason why every new contract is higher, it's predicated on the salary cap being raised.
Right.
And if you
right.
don't, essentially it's a house of cards. So the NFL is being smart. As far as an international Super Bowl, here's what he's not telling you.
Mhm.
The Jaguars are staying there for 2 games. I've been saying for a while now, it's not unfeasible if you schedule based on travel to base a team half the time or all the time in London.
Right.
And if you did that, wouldn't it make sense then to have the Super Bowl?
Because now now it's the world is the football. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's not, they're not going to randomly have it in Rio de Janeiro, the Super Bowl. If they have an international Super Bowl, it's going to be in London to start off with.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Germany loved NFL Europe.
They're doing it again this year. Yeah.
It was NFL Germany in the end.
Yes, they loved
it. Wasn't even NFL Europe. It was
Yep.
NFL Germany
Yep.
in the end.
It was.
So there's room for that sort of expansion and so forth. And the NFL's smart. They follow the money. They're smart at it. So yeah, that's coming true. So the final thing I'd say, let me just call out Beast of the Week. I'm going to say it's Aidan Hutchinson. If I broke my leg and wrapped it around a metal pole, there'd be a lot more emotion than just pulling at my fingers and pulling my glove off.
Yep.
And I think he did say it's broken. Almost matter of factly.
You can, yes.
I mean,
it, yeah.
This to me compares to, remember Dak Prescott when he broke his ankle? A little different injury.
Oh, when he tried to
when
pull,
his kneecap was pointing north and his foot and toes were pointing due east.
Mm-hmm.
He looked at the sideline. He looked down at his leg, saw it, and he picked up his leg and slammed it on the ground to try and straighten it. It straightened some. It didn't go all the way. And then he looked at the sideline like, okay, you better come help me. So calm. I mean, it's amazing, these guys. So I got to give Aidan Hutchinson Beast of the Week for his reactions or lack of and stoic nature. Tough as they come.
Final thoughts for me. We are doing great on our SIC picks. Specifically, we're doing a lot of college football and hockey outside of
I
NFL.
know hockey season's here.
Yes. You were getting the videos last week of all the preseason injuries, so everybody's gearing up, ready to go. We did a combined 14-4-1 with those 2 sports, Saturday and Sunday, which was great. So
bottom line is last week was killer NFL week. This week, weekend overall is what, +8, 10? I don't know. Whatever.
+8 or 9, yes.
Yeah, whatever it was. SIC Picks. Doug's got more promotions for you here. Go to sicscore.com. We got a pretty good little process and algorithm going. So thank you. Appreciate you guys. And more content to come. Hopefully you're liking the shorts and everything. And hopefully you hit all the questions that people have live here. And we're doing it live. The whole point is, and I've been doing good on my X Live halftime and pregame chats.
You've been clicking comments, yes.
Opening up the comments.
Yes.
I mean, if I don't open the comments, I swear it's by accident. I was just trying.
It's not shutting you guys out on purpose. No.
I wish there was a way for me to just set it and always allow comments. I mean, we're not afraid of comments. It helps me drive the chats.
It helps me as well.
With
yes.
comments. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Believe Sports Injury Central, Pro Football Doc Podcast. Appreciate you guys.